Got a canvas, again, 16 by 20 inch canvas. Pre-primed, ready to go, and the paints that I've had, like I said, I was kind of working on something just before the stream, so I have a few colors here. I did pre-mix a few colors as well, and I'm just kind of going to go with it. I had this thought about painting a scene with sort of an ancient derelict alien ship, plus an explorer Earth ship of some kind that has found it. So that's going to kind of be the theme of it here. And I don't have anything sketched. I'm just going to kind of roll with it. We're just going to get a nice background using these colors that I'd already established. I pre-mixed some, so this paint is actually pretty transparent. So I'm just going to kind of start putting it on as thick as I possibly can, just to kind of get the canvas covered here a little bit. And it's okay if I get a little bit of that through, but I do want to have a nice coverage on the whole scene here, and just to get us nice layers of paint down. And I'm just going to kind of throw in a few extras. I'm just going to sort of play around with this a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of nebulosity going on. That's what I've mixed the colors. That's why I mix so many different colors. And we're just going to see if we can get this. I probably should have pre-primed this, just pre-colored it, but you know what? That's half the fun, is just watching the paint go on. So yeah, I wanted to use this magenta to sort of outline. We're going to pretend that this is happening in an area of space with some nice nebula going on in the background here. I just want to get some color on as thick as I can here. And nice that's going on nice and thin. Yeah. A little touch of extra white in there just to lighten this up. I can kind of feel like this corridor that I'm leaving lighter. I just want to have it. There we go. And this is gonna be a real mess. That's perfectly fine. Just want to get this going, and we're just gonna let the colors and the shapes determine what the painting looks like. Adding more brush strokes as we do it, because that's always good. Yeah. And look, I'm using blue, a lot of blue again. Isn't that just typical? Chris, you're always using blue. Something in my programming, I guess, just says, go with the blue, go with the blue. Alrighty. Cool. Got some paint on the canvas. Now I can almost look at this. So that's, that's the important part. And I'm just going to keep grabbing some different colors on here, just to kind of mixing the paint on as I go. Alright, now that I got some of that down, this is kind of going to be the pass where I'm going to start adding some darker, that chromatic black I was telling you about. It's really just a really deep dark blue, dark grayish blue. So I'm just going to let this be pretty chaotic. And for space, this might be as dark as I'm going to go. And like last week, we did a scene where I pretty much just went straight black across the whole thing. And, that was cool, but I also sort of like something that has a little more character to it. And then I'm going to, so this is a real Bob Ross trick, actually, is when you grab the big brush. You grab the big brush, and big old dry brush, and we'll just munge all this together as much as we can while it is still a little bit wet. And with nebula and space backgrounds, oh, I'm pulling it all the way up. Don't do that. You kind of want it to feel like it's clouds of some sort. So murky storm clouds. And, I don't mind if the brush adds a little texture to it. We can work with that. In fact, I might just go ahead and just do that. Grab a little bit of the paint onto this, and we'll But I feel like sometimes I just sort of focus on the main piece, and I forget things like, you know, doing a nice job on the backgrounds and spending time on that. So we're going to try to correct that a little bit. It's fun. And you'll see, because what we're going to basically be doing, these are the color tones that will be our shadows. They're going to be infecting shadows and highlights of our spacecraft when I finally get them in here. So it does actually help, kind of makes a difference. And yeah, I'm actually throwing some different colors in, including this sort of odd orange in here. And I'll just do that so we can kind of see where we're going with it. Do a nice little blend here. And then grabbing some of my white. Well, these colors are still kind of wet here. You can kind of just do this part all day. The magenta. So we're gonna throw a little bit of that there. Just a touch of the white. Lighten that up just a little bit. Let me pull that on in. A little bit more blue on this side. So I'm kind of going with this nice magenta, which just sings out so nicely from all of this. Give a little hint of, you know, glowing star cluster, you know, clusters of stars in this, in and behind this. And of course, the thing that really makes these go is when you get to the end and you throw the actual stars on it. Oh yeah, that's the exciting part. The John Harris stuff is a little bit. He's got a very unique style. I think he goes into deep meditation on his backgrounds, judging by some videos I've seen of his work. For just interviews with him, and he's done some talks. And yeah, he's definitely, he puts a lot of thought into, I guess you could say, almost he's really the master of making these dreamlike states, and I think he puts a lot of energy into sorting out what that actually would be. So his colors, his patterns, I just kind of wing it. But he's a good inspiration. Let's see. Decisions. I've got a very light blue here, and I feel like this area kind of needs it. So I don't do this trick a lot, but when you get two colors on your brush at the same time, then you get some really fun effects, because like I've got a white and then I have my blue, and depending on the angle, you get sort of a nice streak of stuff going on. There we go. And I'm going to try to just focus on these areas that I lightened. Give them a little bit of, just to punch the contrast a little bit. kind of want to darken this side up a little bit. So I'm grabbing a little bit of my blue that I'd mixed just lightly. It's dry enough where I can sort of darken it just a little bit there. I wanted that side to be a little darker. This is where it's nice that acrylic dries so fast, because I can kind of go over it without having to wait 24 hours. And I'm going to do the same in here. I want to darken this up just slightly without really messing it up too much. There we go. That's a pretty hot spot down here too, but for what we're doing, it's kind of working. Let's see if I can just... There we go. Here, actually, pardon me for a second here while I... Yeah, we're gonna do it this way. I'm flipping the painting. I think I'm flipping the painting. Yes, I am. Okay, cool. Just make the decision and go. All right, here we go. We're gonna just put this in as the... I don't know how big it's actually gonna be. It's gonna be pretty good size. And yeah, I'm just painting right over the background that I worked so hard on. One of the reasons I sort of left the middle alone there a little bit was that I just didn't really want to... I was going to put the ships here. So... Ba-dum-bum-bum-ba-da-dum. And we will spend a little time in the daytime. I gotta admit, it was a really great stream last week. It was actually... a lot of folks showed up, so that was really cool. Thank you. Continually thrilled to see the support, so thank you so much, everyone. And I'm just kind of grabbing some white here to sort of give myself an idea of what the shape of this thing is actually going to be. I have no idea. And it's really going to be kind of a very alien ship. So it's going to have some really funky shapes, and we'll just let it do its thing there. I'll even grab a little bit of my black, and oh, gonna wipe that brush off. Hang on a second here. Dun dun dun. And I'm just gonna throw in a few blacks and whites just to kind of get an idea of what's happening with the shape here. And it really, I did want it to blend with the background like this. So that blue that I just put down pretty much just disappears into the background. That's really the effect I'm going for. So awesome. And just making use of this thing here. There we go. So gonna just kind of do its own thing. I'm gonna do the rule of threes here, but in my own way. So let's just give this a... We're going to make this... It's going to be a roughly cylindrical ship using the same background blues. This one we're going to have... Hey, cool. I got to dig the live long and prosper hand signals with or with Bob Ross. That's a fun time. We'll just give it some... Give the ship some shapes here. Get a bit bigger. This one I definitely want to have it more obviously a human ship, so we'll detail this one out in a way that just sort of works. Might make it a little more recognizable. Heck, I can do it. We'll just... Everyone liked the Star Trek stuff last week, so we'll give it a nice roundish front end here with a couple of bits on the sides. There we go. And again, this is just to give myself some notes. I'm going to throw some white in here just so I can kind of see what I'm doing. The effect I'm going for. And I'm just grabbing a little bit of white and trying to follow the shapes as I put them in here. There we go. Awesome. Fun times. Boop. Putting that back up. All right, there we go. And now I'm going to need some more white. So, clear this guy off there. Yeah, it's just and it's hard to do, especially if you're really in a creative box. If you're just, you know, nothing's the creative energy just isn't flowing. You're in a funk. It can be really hard, but just kind of break out the tools and go. You know, don't work on something that's so precious. You know, take the chances, throw some paint. I just painted a submarine. I didn't intend to, but I did. So, yeah. I'm just working with the lights that I did here. I did a little touch of magenta, so it's not just straight white. There we go. And maybe there's a fin out here to the side. Although I have not done a lighthouse in a while, and I feel like I should do a lighthouse. So maybe on another stream that'll be my going back to oils. We'll go back and visit the lighthouses of the Pacific Northwest, which I really just have not done one in a while. So there we go. Just kind of ended up with something here that's a little strange looking. Although I just kind of ended up making it with all these panels and things. It does now sort of have that it's from Earth quality. Yeah. The painting can't talk to you till it is born. Yep. Honestly, it needs its own context. It needs its own life. Leave that in there. Now I'm going to switch to my smaller brush, and I'm going to do the same thing with the Earth ship. I'll add a little touch of a different color to it, though. I think I mentioned this last week, too, and I was working on the Star Trek-looking one. It's kind of fun when you can just... yeah, I had some ships that I sort of was doing Illustrator style, so it kind of ends up feeling a little bit like paint by numbers. You know, you kind of have the shape in and you fill it all in. This is a nice departure from that because it's you're sort of sculpting the ship with your brush and paint as you go, and I don't really know what I'm going to end up with, but I'm really digging what's going on with this one. This to me feels the most John Harris of the bunch, is just this bit here, this guy. So where it just sort of disappears into the painting. And I gotta tell you, this is doing it for me. I'm liking it. There we go. I'm going in with some black now to get these engine details and some other details on this ship here. There we go. And I don't really know what's happening with this ship, so I'm just kind of making this part all up as I go. You know? All right. But I can do this. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah. There we go. It's very important that Earth ships have sort of a red stripies. Because, you know, this is how we know that they're Earth ships. So we're going to add the little... There we go. All right. And let me just add one. I'm going to put one out over here. And I'm going to give it a little sort of orange background, if you will. And I'll put one up here. It's raw sienna, so it's not technically orange, but if I used orange, it would probably end up looking a little too, it would be too orange. It would be too colorful. I don't want that. So what I'm doing is I'm painting in the halos with this, and these are going to be some larger stars. I did some smaller ones over here too. I don't want to go too crazy on these because I'll have to I'm gonna have to go over these, each of them, with a little bit of white, so that's okay. All right, I got those down. Clean off the old brush here. Grab my white. I'll just actually need more white than that. I'm just gonna be brutal. Just drop the white right in the middle of them. There we go. And this should give it a nice little halo effect. A little bit of color, make some stick out a bit more. There we go. Throw in a few, since I got white on the brush, I'll throw a few of the few other hero stars in the mix here too. This will just kind of help us see how it looks. There we go. Moody, dreamlike space with ships. That's kind of where I'm going with this. I'm trying to lighten up the highlight parts of this. There we go. And I'm just, there we go. Get little bits of, and as I do it, it's going to help me add some texture to this ship. We're kind of looking at it with the light hitting it from an angle here. And I look at it as kind of like, sculpting. You're sculpting your shapes a little bit as you go, and as you build up the layers, you kind of start seeing shapes identify themselves a bit. And so I'm following with progressively lighter colors, which will help define it. It's a fun time. And it's, by the way, this part of it is my favorite part. So I like getting the paintings to the point where you can work with the existing color. So throw the background in, get the color going, get your environment going. So then you kind of just sit here and noodle in on all the details. This is my favorite part. That's okay. All right, now let's see. I'm gonna grab a little bit of blue with my black here. Still have a bunch of this blue left. Okay, cool. And I did the lights, so now I want to kind of come in and work on some darker details. There we go. So I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing I did with a light color and just sort of break up some of these spots here. And of course, because this one isn't, this is an alien ship, it's not going to get red stripies, so it is going to get all sorts of fun little details. I almost feel like this ship needs an extra color, though, and I've been resisting the temptation, but it does kind of feel like I could do something with it. I almost wanted to go something maybe HR Geeker with the shape, but Geeker worked with an airbrush. I have an airbrush, it's just not set up here. I actually have to take the painting to the other part of the room to do it. So I did think about breaking it out, hauling it over here one night, but that's a completely different animal altogether, of course. Just checking a couple of things out here. See if I can... Yeah, okay, I'm digging that. All right. When you have so much blue, anything that's kind of in the orange area will really help it set out. So I've grabbed my raw sienna, and we'll just dot this up. It's a nice rust color. It's what I used on the stars too. So it's kind of at home in the painting here. And we're going to give this a little, we're going to kind of rust it up just a little bit to give it some age. Clean out the old brush here. Since I kind of have some structures on here that are sticking up right in the middle of the light, I'm going to get some shadows on the ship there. Same thing down over here. I'm going to get some shadows across the thing. There we go. Not really sure what this conning tower is doing, but we're just going to go with it. Yeah. There we go. And then our background, or underneath the ship. Alrighty. I'm just going to try a little bit of my magenta in some of these areas here too. This is where I'm just kind of making things up as I go. Wasn't really sure if that magenta would work, but for painting details in the shadow zones, it's one of my favorite go-tos. It's a nice, cool color. We have it in the painting, and I feel like it could probably work okay, as if it's getting reflected light from something in from behind. It'll also help us kind of tie it into the rest of the painting here. If I'm not careful, I'll overwork it, and that'd be really tragic, wouldn't it? How fun. And continue on. Let me see if I know these whites can be brightened up a little bit, so I'm going to try to go back in and go back over these one more time before I call this one. There we go. I'm digging my little almost Star Trek-y ship here. I kind of want to know more about it, but it's going to just have to be semi-mysterious. I'm also trying not to hurry through this because the wife and daughter units were doing a fantastic collection of is it pork dumplings, the kind that you would get from a Chinese restaurant, and they do them very well. They're well practiced in the art of pork dumplings, and they sound amazing. So that's what's waiting for me at the end of the stream. Yikes. Unless my daughter's eaten them all, which is entirely possible. She's very capable of doing that, and has in the past. Alrighty. I need some details in here so we can see this engine has some stuff going on. There we go. I'm adding this little hint of smoke, if you will, off the back end, although that's not what it's reading as, so I'm going to do the best I can. This is probably not a good idea, but this is kind of one of those John Harris things that probably works out better if you're actually John Harris and not me trying to do a John Harris. But that's okay. We'll just go with it. We are going to go straight on to adding some stars, and I'm going to round this one out. I know it's a little shorter session tonight, but I'm liking where this is at. So let me grab a little bit of my white paint and my fan brush. See if I can get a nice, just kind of water down the paint a little bit. You don't want it too thin down, otherwise the paint won't quite stick. All right. And let's see here. We're going to close the somewhat expensive John Harris book so that I don't get splashes on it. Let's see where we can go from here from this. All righty. Whoop, too big. Try to keep the star splashes pretty small, but gotta tell you, folks, on a space painting, this totally makes it. Here we go. Alrighty. Good times. I gotta figure out what's a good color I can sign it all off with. Let's see here. I think I'll do that magenta. We will go with that, shall we? There we go. Earthship found an alien vessel floating in a nebulous star region. Good times. And we'll just get myself the old signature down here. I don't honestly have too much of the fancy signature. I just kind of have my own thing going. Just the name. And I went to white. There we go. I just didn't really practice a signature that much. I used to do the little planet, the little Saturn that I do in my logo, but that always ended up being a little strange. It doesn't really say much, so I'm back to just signing the C-Doll. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Good times. there we go, everybody. Little quicker painting this evening, but it was fun. And this is, you know, kind of mission accomplished on the ship here, definitely. And this one I'm really kind of enjoying as well. It's a good time. It might, I like thinking this would be the sort of thing that maybe somebody would have put in the background scene in one of the Star Trek shows, you know, the painting on the wall behind the crew. So yeah. See if I can lift it up so it's not so much in the light. Actually, what happens if I turn the light out? I know I'm going to lose it. There we go. I just get glare from the other lights in the room. That's awesome. There we go. Let me just move my face here a little bit. There we go. Hey, thanks, Dog Lover. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed this one. I might be doing more like this, where I just sort of wing it. But yeah, it was. I always get a little terrified before the beginning of a show and not really sure what we're going to do with it, but this one was a good time. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Also, catch my weekly stream over on Twitch every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Thank you.